Hey everyone, in this video, I want to talk about Halo Wars 3. And no, Halo Wars 3 has not been announced yet, and I don't think Halo Wars 3 will be announced really anytime soon, which I hope to be proven wrong. But I want this to be a hypothetical video about let's talk about Halo Wars 3. What would the game look like? What would I wish for? And how would this help revive Halo? If you're new to the channel, well, I am inexplicably obsessed with the Halo Wars series, so if you love Halo Wars, you've come to the right place, and we're a bunch of idiots that post Halo Wars gameplay all the time. Now, for Halo Wars 3, I think it's important to kind of see where we are in the current Halo Wars franchise, if you will. There was almost 8 years in between the release of Halo Wars 1 and Halo Wars 2. Halo Wars 1 came out in March of 2009, Halo Wars 2 came out in February of 2017, just under 8 years. We're currently 6 years since the release of Halo Wars 2, and so I'm hoping that we're going to start hearing rumblings of a next game and sometime soon, and I think it is deserved. Notably, the story of Halo Wars 2 ends on a cliffhanger. I don't think that's really a spoiler, but it's not really a satisfying ending to wrap up this story. There's definitely a lot left here at the end of Halo Wars 2. Infinite doesn't finish the story of Halo Wars 2, which was something I was worried about, and I think that the fact that Infinite doesn't finish the story of Halo Wars 2 is actually quite exciting. And I've heard that the book Divine Wind continues this story slightly following the end of Halo Wars 2. I can't confirm that because I haven't read the novel. I think it might be slightly similar to how, is it New Blood or is it Bad Blood? One of those two novels continues the story of Halo 5 a little bit. So maybe, we can take a little bit of, I guess, solace that that story hasn't been finished in a book yet either. Let's look at also the Halo franchise as a whole. Halo FPS is in complete shambles right now. There's a lot of leadership leaving 343, including Joe Staten, Bonnie Ross. A lot of the big leadership people at 343 either have left or are in the process of leaving. The studio itself is affected by recent layoffs, and they have a tarnished reputation. People really did not like the way that 343 handled the live service type thing that they want to present in Infinite. I can't believe that this live service game has less content than Halo 3 did when it launched back in 2007. I mean, that's another video for another topic. But I do suspect that it will be a long time before we see the next Halo FPS. I think really what needs to happen is there needs to be new leadership that will kind of create a new plan for Halo. They need to hire again for these types of roles and this type of project. You usually see studios, I think it's traditional in the industry, where they bulk up in headcount as they develop a game, and once the game releases, a lot of people leave. And we're currently in that process where people are leaving in 343 for one reason or another. So I do suspect it's going to be years. I would say at least 5 or 6 years before we see the next Halo FPS. I could be wrong, but that's just my guess. I think in the meantime, let's build a Halo Wars 3. Let's build an interstitial game in between Infinite and the hypothetical Halo 7. It can rebuild the excitement for Halo, continue the story that's left in Halo Wars 2, and let's get people talking about Halo again. Halo Wars 1 and Halo Wars 2 were not only great games, but they're actually beloved RTS games by thousands and thousands of gamers. Halo Wars does both Halo and real-time strategy right. They make it a really simple approach for a lot of people to pick up a controller, or I guess in PC's example, mouse and keyboard. And the base building structure is really simple to learn. The counters for units are quite easy. Halo Wars 2 makes that even better with the diagrams on each unit, letting you know how they're effective against other unit types. So I think that there's just a lot of potential here with the framework of Halo Wars to continue into a third game. But let's do Halo Wars right this time when it's launched a hypothetical Halo Wars 3. I'm talking a day one Steam launch, crossplay with Steam, Windows Store on PC, and Xbox. Let's have dedicated mod support on PC, and hopefully maybe they could do something like the Bethesda Creation Club or whatever it's called, where you can install mods on console. Since Xbox owns Bethesda, they could utilize Bethesda for better mod support. Let's also have a dedicated support team that actually listens to the community with balance changes. And let's not shortchange gamers this time by selling them a season pass and then an expansion pack on top, not included in the season pass. I'm talking about you, Awakening the Nightmare. And let's remove the pay-to-win mechanics that we saw in the Blitz card game mode. As a reminder, Halo Wars 1 does not offer crossplay, but it can very easily unofficially support mods. However, Halo Wars 1 Definitive Edition has no matchmaking. You're basically creating custom game browser lobbies and waiting for friends and players to join. Halo Wars 2 does have crossplay between Xbox and PC, but it's not on Steam. It doesn't support mods easily. It does have matchmaking, but it's a complete buggy mess, especially on the Series X. There's a lot of crashes and new problems pop up quite frequently, most recently the foliage bug that I think a lot of you are well aware of. Microsoft is in an RTS boom right now with Age of Empires, and with the Activision Blizzard King acquisition on the horizon, maybe they can utilize the talent from the StarCraft 2 team. Halo Wars 3 was originally pitched and rejected. It featured space battles. I'm going to post a link to that in the video description. Just for copyright reasons, I'm not really so sure where that lies in. I don't know if that's technically copyrighted material, so I'm not going to post any of that material on the video itself per se. But again, the link in the description has all the material that you need to know and learn about the rejected pitch for Halo Wars 3. It did feature space battles, which I've heard a lot of players really be requesting from the next Halo Wars game. Personally, I prefer the boots on the ground approach that we've seen in Halo Wars 1 and Halo Wars 2, but maybe theoretically we could have a game mode, maybe the Blitz quote-unquote, a separate game mode, could be space battles, maybe some sort of space battle game mode that you play with matchmaking, and then your regular boots on the ground deathmatch that we see in Halo Wars 1 and Halo Wars 2. So finally, let's kind of start to wrap up this video by asking the question, who would the developers be for a theoretical Halo Wars 3? Well, I don't think we can kind of count on 343 for developing an RTS game since they're an FPS studio. And remember, 343 didn't actually develop Halo Wars 2. They contracted Creative Assembly, and 343 worked alongside them for material and lore, and then later balance changes post-release. So here are some potential suitors I think could be utilized to develop a Halo Wars 3. I have Creative Assembly, who developed Halo Wars 2. They may be busy with the Total War franchise that they're really known for. You could also ask Relic. Relic are the Company of Heroes team owned by Sega, but they recently made Age of Empires 4, and they've seemed to do a pretty good job, in my opinion, of balance changes and really listening to fan feedback. So Microsoft has already contracted this studio to make an RTS game, just like Creative Assembly. So what's to say we could ask them to make a Halo Wars 3? You also have the Age of Empires developers, Forgotten Empires and World's Edge. Both of those teams help with Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, Age 3 Definitive Edition, and the in-development Age of Mythology Retold. Again, maybe we could utilize the StarCraft 2 team from the Activision Blizzard purchase that's coming soon, and maybe even the Gears Tactics developer Splash Damage. That one's kind of a reach there, but I figured that's quite a bit of studios that could potentially be suitors for a Halo Wars 3. Again, I think that we should get a Halo Wars 3. Don't get me wrong. I'm just concerned that we won't get one for quite some time. However, I think actually the way the cards are dealt on the table, this is a perfect scenario in which, yes, I think a Halo Wars 3 in between Infinite and the next FPS makes a lot of sense. Just like how gamers got excited for the next Halo game, which I don't think we knew the name was going to be Halo Infinite when Halo Wars 2 launched, but it got us stoked for FPS Halo again with the launch of Halo Wars 2, so I'm hoping that'll be the case for Halo Wars 3. Okay, that's enough of me blabbering on about a theoretical Halo Wars 3. I really hope that I'm proven right in the case that, yes, we will get a Halo Wars 3 and this story will continue, because there's really nothing like the setting, the story, these characters, and the gameplay found in Halo Wars 1 and Halo Wars 2. Okay, I pass the question on to you. What do you think is going to happen with Halo Wars? Are we going to get a Halo Wars 3? When do you think it would come out? And what kind of mechanics do you think? Is it going to be space battles, boots on the ground approach? Love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. So, like I said at the beginning of the video, TeamRespawn, we're a bunch of idiots that are known for playing Halo Wars. If this is your first time on the channel, we recently did a full playthrough, one video, the entire campaign of Halo Wars 1. It was really awesome. So if you love Halo Wars, I think that's a great place for you to start. And let me know what else you check out on the channel. Okay, that's going to do it for me. Thank you all so much for watching, everybody. And I'll see you, James.